Hello, welcome back to another Sunday live stream. How's everyone doing today? How is your Sunday going for you? We got Charm Tiger here, Synips, Terranecla, Gaku, and I think, FHI's here, Spiral Out. That's about it as far as chat goes. Glad to have you all, as well as everyone else who's just lurking and enjoying the vibes. That's always cool too. We have some interesting stuff today. A lot of bands I don't recognize, but also some really interesting sounding bands, some interesting looking thumbnails and album art. And after looking at some of the comments, I think we're in for a wild ride today. Let's see. Ahoy! I like that. Infinity, welcome. Let's saw a discussion yesterday whether you should be able to kill NPCs or not and what that would entail. NPCs regarding to video games or NPCs regarding a derogatory term for people who have no interesting life. Contarchus, glad you're here. Youth Worship Explosion. Honestly, I thought you were absent today, seeing as you didn't have anything to say pre-show. In games? That's interesting. Hey, I know that now. Yeah, that's Glep. I started watching Smiling Friends. Well, I say started. It was only like, I don't know, what is it, like 70 minutes of the show? It's a short show and not a lot of episodes. So I got through it pretty quickly, but yeah, I've seen it recently. It's cool stuff. You said something pre-show and I missed it. Oh, I missed that whole NPC thing then, I guess. Somehow I skipped right over that. Okay, so I apologize. You were here pre-show. Yeah. Pear's here. Glad to have you. Panda, glad to have you too. They ended the show, unfortunately. Only 3 seasons, but yeah, dude. You know, they're doing the season finale this week? Next week? It's, I'm looking forward to it. It's actually why I started watching the show. My friend told me to check it out. He said it was pretty funny and that it was short. And I'm always here for short experiences. So, and the sad Pim. You've got all the emojis for this. Okay, this is the 3rd time I've heard about Exit 8. And people keep saying it's great. So I guess I'm going to have to check this out when it hits streaming. Because everyone's talking about how great it is. Love the funny critters. Yep. Dang. Super surprised at how good it is. And coming from you, I mean, not to pigeonhole you, but you're pretty critical of things. So, well directed and acted. I think, where's my marker? Hey, stay up. All right. I think I already have it in my list, but just in case, I'm going to make a note. Yeah, the Backrooms movie looks interesting. I saw we had a track from, what was it? Oh, it was for Film Score Week. It was one of the suggested tracks. We didn't get to it, but I kind of wanted to, because the trailer, I haven't seen the trailer yet either, but it is A24, I think, which is enough to entice me. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. This new era of good films resulting from memes. Yeah, I am going to extend it another week. I'm going to make a note about that on Patreon. It'll probably come out tomorrow, because that's when the polls would come out. There won't be any polls. And I'll have that schedule put together sometime tonight. We'll do another 5, completely random. Just grab 5 random ones, and we'll see where that takes us. Because there were some really cool ones on the list. And while I enjoyed what we got to, we kind of didn't hear a lot of what I would call film score work, stuff that would require a score, written music. We got a lot of more traditional mainstream music that was probably not written on sheet music first. Am I extending more representation? No, not right now. We'll see how that goes, though. If this ends up being a success, I may be more apt to extend themes in the future, especially now as we have 30 to 40 suggestions for each poll. Doing 10 actually sounds pretty cool for some of them. Probably won't see me extending Dissonance Week, but if I'm enjoying myself, I might want to spend some more time with the theme. And I don't know why I've never thought about doing this before, other than, you know, going into it, saying, yeah, we're going to do a double week on this. So I'm looking forward to it, though. I had fun last week and looking forward to whatever we get next week, too. All right, let's get this underway. We got 13 tracks again. I'm getting ahead of the game here so that we don't end up with 19 on the last Friday of this month as well. Hopefully doing 13 a week will keep us at a nice consistent number for each Sunday. We're going to kick it off with The Book of Knots. I honestly thought I had these switched at first, but no, the artist is The Book of Knots. The track is Hewitt-Smithson. Brian Torture Week. More subs get the week extended. Why is every single subathon, any way of trying to increase the number of subs or engagement for this channel always have to deal with my misery? I don't understand that. Why can't we have a positive way to increase the number of subscribers or patrons or Discord members or whatever? It's always watch Brian suffer. We'll get more people that way. I did extend the free suggestions to 2 weeks. Back in January. Yeah, I think I do that. I think I do that most years because it's just easy to end the year on that and to start off the year on that. So if it bleeds, it bleeds. All right, buddy. Your misery is expanding your horizons. Growth is painful. Well, you know, that's not wrong. But that doesn't make it fun. And sometimes I just want to have fun here. All right. We got context on this from Elbow Juice. Make sure to pay attention to the lyrics. Boy, howdy, do I love modern society. I don't know what it is about boy, howdy, but I love that. That's a great phrase. It's a great, what do they call that? Just a way to show excitement. Dang. Exclamatory? Is that what it is? I think so. Anyways, it's a great one, and I need to say it more often. It's a good expression, too, but it's exclamation. That's what it is. I was close. I said exclamatory, which may not be a word, but I'm coining it. All right. Let's see. Book of Knots. Let's dive into this. See what's going on with the first track today.
What she used to like, she was starting to hate. She used to like molten glass poured into the big industrial vat. When she visited him, she'd see the molten glass and the fountaining of sparks. This was how they made glass. This was the red-hot center of the industry. And there were all these people doing it, and what they did was
that is true. Good contrast always helps up opposites shine.
For it to cool. The molds and the colors, they were all designed by rich ladies in the suburbs. But
exclamatory sounds like a word. Yeah, thank you. I like to make stuff that actually sounds right.
She used to like the museum and its neglected glass exhibits. When you were a teenager, it was a good place for heavy petting. Now she was starting to hate it. She used to like that there was just the one ice cream place and you had to drive 20 minutes to get there. And in summer, you knew everyone in the line. You knew them from church or 4-H or what have you. Half the fun was standing in line. The only choices were vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. She used to like it, but now she kind of hated it. Downtown there were nothing but strip clubs. She used to like that her husband still had a yen for the feminine things. Once she went along with him, but she felt bad afterwards, and now she hated all of it. She hated desperation and credit cards. She hated drunkenness. She hated guys who were shoving their last $20 bill into the G-string of a girl with too many kids. She used to like the steady living from Hewitt-Smithson, manufacturers of consumer glass. There was insurance and daycare, but now the plant was closed. She had a friend working fast food. Maybe she had two of these friends. She used to like fast food, but she was starting to hate it. Cholesterol and diabetes and obesity. She used to like her kids. She used to like taking them to the same rusty swing set where everyone took their kids. Concussion Park, they used to call it. But now her kids just told her to fuck off or called her a bitch, and they blamed her for all the stuff she in turn blamed on the world. She used to like the cable dial, the 97 stations, but now it was all cubic zirconium filigree and people eating rats for the $1 million prize money, or it was ministers trying to tell the people who got laid off that they should love Jesus. Give Jesus your unemployment check. She used to love Jesus, but all Jesus did was build a stadium in a rusty town for a minor league franchise that always lost. She used to love the hawks circling over the squashed squirrels on the highway, but the hawks were gone. She used to love a drink, but now the drink didn't do what it was supposed to do. She used to love to fall asleep. She used to love the roller coasters at the amusement park. She'd been in love once, but now love and disappointment were next door neighbors. When he interviewed at Hewitt-Smithson, her husband, it was because everyone knew someone at the plant. They watched the molten glass spilling into the big industrial vat like it was a waterfall. They all got married beside this waterfall, the waterfall of Hewitt-Smithson. And someone threw a bouquet. The plant manager threw them a bouquet. The future was their bouquet, or the future was their oyster. And their oyster had a pearl, and the pearl was the future, or it was the company and the town and the friends and the church and the kids and the school system. But if that bouquet came flying toward her now, she'd be sure to duck.
All right. Yeah. Solid artistic track right there. Spoken word with an atmosphere to it. Speaking about the dreariness of modern day life, the industrialization of everything, and the slow erosion of the middle class. The music is as unsettling as the description is of this town, of the people in it, of the way things used to be compared to how they are now. Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat, FHI. I appreciate this. This is art to me, but it's not casual enjoyment music. There's very little in here I find pleasant from either the musical or the lyrical side of things, and I think that's the purpose of it. It's designed to be unsettling, it's designed to be eerie, it's designed to create an atmosphere that matches the bleakness of the world that is being described. And through that perspective, it does it phenomenally. But it's not fun. It's not enjoyable. There's not much I would come back to here unless I just wanted to feel really sad. But I do love the end of it as the metaphor begins to fall apart the bouquet is the future, or maybe the future is the oyster, and the oyster had a pearl, and the pearl was the future, or maybe it was the company, or the town, or the friends. And it kind of talks about how everything was supposed to go in a specific direction, and slowly nothing is pointing in that direction anymore. The goalpost continues to get moved, and oh, you're just a rabbit chasing a carrot on a stick at this point. And it finally says that if that bouquet ever came flying towards her now, she would duck. That the future, this future is not what she expected it to be, and she wants nothing to do with it anymore. Taking a metaphor that was floundering and losing its traction, and actually turning it into a really solid final metaphor, a final piece of figurative language that ties everything together. Really well done. Concussion Park was a great phrase in there. Definitely a one and done experience. I agree. But, you know, I probably would have said the same thing about Archspire as well. That is another work that is incredible social commentary about the dreariness of modern life and all of the annoying and depressing parts of it, and yet I come back to that. Granted, it is more musically dense and sometimes interesting, but it is also atonal and eerie. Not necessarily something that I would describe as enjoyable, and yet I've come back to that many times as well. So there might be something in here that grabs me. Maybe just one day I want to come back to something like this. I don't know. Apparently one member of the band is from Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum. Yeah, dude, that checks out. Traditional music gone wrong. Yeah, that's a really good perspective too. If we just shifted some of the notes in here, we'd have kind of a pretty traditional folk track. Minimal instrumentation, creating an atmosphere for sung, but sometimes even spoken word elements to be on, something for an atmosphere for the story to be told, but the note choice, the timbre of the instruments, just a hair bit off. Much as the expectations of living versus the reality of what life became, certainly having some disparity there too. So yeah, really great comment there. I'm reluctantly going to pull this one down. I kind of want to check out what else the Book of Knots does, because this was interesting. Again, really good art. Not something I would call casual listening, but solid use of sound to put a mirror up to society. It's good to feel bad in a purposeful, controlled way sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that as much as I typically listen to music for positivity and joy, there's entire groups of people who really enjoy just really dark, oppressive music all the time. So there's obviously some element to that is enticing. And for me to get drawn to that sometimes speaks to its power too. You worked in the glass industry for over 11 years and had to switch careers last year with many others. There's a lot of industries that are shrinking. I didn't know specifically about glass, but I mean, everything's kind of downsizing, shrinking, whatever. So yeah, it sucks. Next up, we have Titus Andronicus. Found something better. Dude, that's awesome. This economy is so good right now. Just shout it. That makes it true. All right, this track's called A More Perfect Union, which, depending on where they take this, is going to be an interesting track to follow up the last one with. This one comes at us from Tedesco, 709, but the last 30 seconds are a sampled speech, so we can skip that. Alrighty, let's dive into this, see what's going on with Titus Andronicus.
transatlantic giant steps the earth and crushes at a blow? Never. All the armies of Europe and Asia could not
Kicks off
by
with a
force
sampled speech too.
take a drink from the Ohio River or set a track on the Blue Ridge in the trial of 1,000 years. If destruction be our lot, we ourselves must be its author and finisher. As a nation, free men, we will live forever or die by suicide.
A really gritty, heavy guitar tone. But there's uplift in that second chord. Hey, Marilyn, welcome.
Shallow and dry. Oh, I never wanted to change
Bit of noise off to the side.
New Jersey. 'Cause dreams like us, baby, we were born to die.
Yeah, it's a neat mix. It's kind of funky, but it also has rock roots in there. It's noisy, but it's positive, very uplifting. Music for a bar, I could see that. There is a distinct lack of enunciation, and that just feels right. Hey, Mark, careful driving out there. I was thinking folky as soon as you mentioned that there. American whistle. I could also hear a bagpipe in this. Maybe a tambourine too. You can tell they're American. Yeah. I know it was just a simple arpeggiation on the left, but I loved how that lined up with the solo.
As truth and as uncompromising as justice. On this subject, I do not wish to think or speak or write with moderation. I am in earnest. I will not equivocate. I will not excuse, and I will not retreat a single inch, and I will be heard.
All right. Yeah, I enjoyed that. It reminded me a little bit of Dropkick Murphys. I think that's mostly the like Irish folk element with punkier sounds, but very much less punky than Dropkick is, and bringing in a lot of rock and folk elements into it. Title referring to a workers' union? I don't think so. I think, as someone noted, they're obviously American. I think this is talking about the American Union of States. That's why I initially said that this would be an interesting track to follow up with, follow up from the previous one, since I thought this was going to be fairly political again. But I'm not sure. I didn't catch a lot of the lyrics. A More Perfect Union was an Obama speech. Looking at the lyrics, this is more about the Civil War. Okay. I apologize if I pronounce this wrong, but welcome, Zeno the Plush. I don't know if that's what that's supposed to be. That's what I get out of it, though. You're more than welcome to correct me. I will make sure I'm right. Oh, I got it. Cool. Excellent. Yeah, no worries. Glad to have you here. Oh, see, I read the 1-3 as 13, just a number to tack on the end. But is it plushy? Is that supposed to be part of it? Yeah, okay. I'll make sure I get that right in the future. Yeah, though this track, I really like the back and forth between the very punky vocal sections and the rockier instrumental bits. Despite being 7 minutes long, it doesn't really feel that long. Despite a lot of this being guitar-driven instrumental work, it goes right through those moments. It's really engaging to listen to the melodic writing. And I think a lot of that has to do with the bass and other guitars supporting it very well. As I mentioned there at the end, it was a simple rising arpeggiation on the left side, but I loved how it escalated. It brought the pitch higher, it brought the tension higher alongside the solo guitar off on the other side of the track. And it was just a great way to rise into that final chorus, I'm assuming. So I really like that. And everything just, it goes by in a blur. And I think that's one of the best things I can say about a longer track, especially from a more, I'd say, enjoyable standpoint, because length, you can certainly create weight and impact through the longevity. For something to feel exceptionally long certainly adds to possibly a theme of overbearingness. So there's certainly an artistic perspective to be had for that. But if it's a long track and it just feels like much shorter, that's usually a good thing for me. Brian can read numbers. Yeah, I come from the olden day of leet speak, if anyone is familiar with that. So reading numbers as letters is kind of second nature for me. Although the V in plushie almost threw me, but thankfully to, I hate to say this, the black metal fans out there, I've begun interpreting V's as U's, something I've never done in my life. Black metal has learned me something, has taught me something. So, sorry, my southern came out. Oh man. Guess you're old school and a black metal fan. Yeah. You're very familiar with leet speak and still have difficulties reading. Okay. I mean, everyone's got their faults. Not being able to read numbers, that's not a bad one to have. Don't mean to throw any shade your way, though. I'm elite hacksaw. Oh, man. I'm getting all these flashbacks to, like, 2000s Counter-Strike, version 1.3. Man, I'm getting some nostalgia right here. It's not only black metal that seems to be true. The numbers are letters edition. If y'all keep this up, always celebrate afternoons when I see a clock at 1337. We're only 2 hours away from that, and we may hit that today. So maybe we'll have a leet time on stream. Never dawned on me to even think about that. That's it seems obvious in retrospect, but I've never thought about it. So that'll be fun. Is there anything else I wanted to add to this? I don't think so. I think I agree with everyone about the vocals. I don't mind them that much, but I think this would be really well in sort of a group live venue, whether that be a bar or a concert. I think that would work really well. We have the 24-hour clock. I use 24-hour clock pretty much everywhere. I don't like looking for AM or PM. I like my information immediate. When I look at those first two numbers for the hour, I should know exactly where we are at. So 1736. Oh, yeah, actually, that's something I did not even think about. I was talking about hitting leet time in Eastern Standard Time, but obviously people can hit leet time all the time, and it won't necessarily be during the stream. You only heard the last bit, but you like the melody. Melody was really strong on that. I know punk can sometimes be emotional and texture heavy, but I think that's where the rock side of this really starts to shine with the melodic stuff in both the vocals and the guitar work. So ended up permanently going to 24-hour clock since they use that everywhere. Interesting. Yeah, once you get used to it, like I said, the information, it's concise. You don't need 3 bits of information, you only need 2. And I'm always down for that. Oh, geez. Twitch, why did you put dark blue on gray? Okay, I know I'm going to butcher this name. I apologize. Gaijinho? Dude? Is that what that is? Welcome to the stream. It says first time chat, so that's pretty cool. Already switched to metric too. I would if I could. The thing is, you really got to immerse yourself in that. Like, I understand metric. I took physics, I took a bunch of sciences. I prefer the simplicity of metric, but there's no way to use it in my everyday life when everything is measured in imperial. E-Monster, wow, dude, we have a lot of people jumping in today. Glad to have everyone today. This is good. Lots of new faces today. Kind of amusing seeing me struggle with names. I like to prepare for stuff, and you can't prepare for something new, for something I can't account for. So you control, Brian. You do. Yes, our local troll here. Greetings from Germany. Awesome. I think it's really wild seeing how many people from Europe are in the community. I never really thought that I would have that kind of connection with people on another continent. And I'd probably wager about half of the community is European. At least that's what it feels like to me. And I think that's pretty awesome that we have such, a wide, how do I want to word that? Is that we're kind of reducing the distance of the globe. So, US wants no kings, but insists on imperial. Oh, that's good. Oh, man. Southeast Asia, wow. According to YouTube, we don't have a lot of Asians in the community, at least from YouTube subscriber perspective or viewer perspective. But I wonder what the... Again, why am I at a lost words? I wonder how many people from Asia are in the more active community, what I would call the Discord community, the more daily communication area. Conquering the globe one stream at a time, yeah. Song requests to react. There is a link underneath the video for Patreon. You can join at the critic tier or higher, and you get one request every month for live streams. And I think we still have slots open. Yeah, next week's full, but the 26th is still very open. So we do songs here. Wait a second. We're 40 minutes into the stream and I've done 2 tracks. We got to get this train rolling again. Yeah, let's get this back on track here. Next up, we have some Embraced, Dirge of the Masquerade. Also, if you've never seen a stream of mine, it's very easy to derail me. I just love chatting to people. It's awesome. So let's get this rolling. What's context for this? From Infinity. For April, I'd like to request a song off an album that was a huge part of my introduction to black metal and the development of my listening skills. Very melodic with some great piano parts and emotional outro. All right. Let's dive into this. See what's going on with Embraced. Okay, that's a vocal choice. I don't mind the harshness on this though. I'm curious, is there something that gave away them being Swedish in the music? Or did you just go look that up? Cookie Monster reading a text. Okay, the snare on 2 and 4 with sort of the metalcore riffage. Hey, Izzy, welcome. Yep. So that's a 7/4. Oh, it's not. 13/8? Yeah, I think that's a 13/8 time signature. Very interesting. So symphonic parts in a blackened death metal track with interesting time signatures and audible, harsh vocals. Very interesting for 98. Generic Cradle of Filth clone. I guess I need to listen to more Cradle of Filth. Simply because I don't know their sounds, and apparently they're fairly prolific. You don't listen to a lot of rock and metal. Interesting to wind up in this community that's very centered around rock and metal, despite having interests, outside of that. Oh, well, thanks. Classic guitar tone. Wild polyrhythm on that snare for a moment. Yeah. I wish more of this was present in the metal parts. There's some really nice romantic inspired classical music on this song, but it's always relegated to the less metallic sections. That synth on the side is so 90s. Oh, okay, so I get my wish. We're combining them. I'm down for this. Cozy goth vibes. Not a phrase I would it's just a fade out. Not a phrase I would have expected to hear, but yeah. Yeah. Nice guitar riff to throw over it too. Good fade out prediction. I heard it. I don't know if that came through on your end, but there was definitely a volume dip that I picked up on really early in that. Very cool. I don't know if I'm going to go out of my way to listen to more of it. You know what? I'm going to pull it down. Might not be a high priority, but it does do a lot of things that I like. It has the classical bits in it. We started off with it, we did a little interlude in the middle, and we brought it back at the end. Beautiful parts. The harsh vocals, I think, are audible. I don't mind them. I do wish there was more variety to the perceived pitch on them, but I can hear the words, and I think that the energy of them fits really well with the energy of the music. So I kind of dig that. And the guitar work, the drum work on this is more interesting, particularly that melody at the end. I really dug on the guitar. The drums were exploratory. I'm not going to say that every idea really worked for me, but it was more interesting than just the rigid stuff that black metal and death metal can get locked into. So I enjoy that. And it all kind of it comes together into something more melodic than I typically experience from the more traditional sounds of these genres. Yeah. You really think when I'm in a nursing home, I'm going to come back to my spreadsheet from, when I'm in my 30s? Yeah, unfortunately, it is true. Not high priority means it's probably not going to get to. But I don't want to forget it either, just in case. I can hear the words on their next promo blurb. From Brian Reactions. I like that. I wish I could get some more music, but I think at the very least, I just don't want to forget that this is here. Just in case I'm thinking about, hey, black metal, where I can actually enjoy melodic passages. I'm in the mood for it. What can I listen to? I can go to my database and find this there. But yeah, it's more enjoyable than I would have expected coming into it. And it's one of those sounds that I kind of wish black metal explored more. I know we've listened to black metal bands that have orchestral and classical leanings, but really there's only a few of them that I can think of that I actually enjoy. Probably less than 10. So finding another one, that's a pretty big deal for me. It won't be a simple spreadsheet in your nursing home time. No, it already isn't. It is a full-on database. So I represent it to myself through a grid spreadsheet kind of thing because that's easier to visualize. But yeah, it's a database. So it's already expanded past the old form. Everything I do just grows. I don't know why I can't keep my projects simple, but I'm always thinking of how can I make this better? And always that involves more work. It's never the opposite for me. I'd love to find something that gets easier the deeper I get into it. It's not how my life goes though. And you know what? I've accepted it at this point. Like SQL? No, but I actually think I can transfer this into SQL if I ever needed to. But this is a program called Obsidian. It's a note-taking program. And I basically put metadata, YAML metadata into a note, and then I can read that metadata into and display it into a spreadsheet within Obsidian still. So it's a new feature. They call it Bases. And I think it came out for the public sometime last year, but it was in beta for a while. They named it after the hit band Forest of Obsidian. Yeah, dude, Obsidian has become my go-to for everything. It's the first program I load when I start my computer up. It has my to-do lists, my task lists. It keeps me organized for work. I have all the reaction spreadsheets in it and databases. And also my entire media, everything that I want to watch or read or listen to, and everything that I have watched and read or listened to, and any comments I've made, personal comments about the media itself, it's all in an Obsidian vault. It is incredibly powerful these days. So it's a deep rabbit hole, but if you're that type of person who likes to take notes and document everything, this thing will probably do whatever you need it to. Yeah, it started as just a note-taking thing, and now it's kind of expanded to everything. It has user plugins too, so you can expand it in a bunch of different ways. And just off the bat, it's primarily note-taking, but you can really develop it into whatever you want. The only thing I think I would want out of it is mobile notifications, because I do use it as a to-do list, and I can't get notifications when a task is scheduled or due or something like that. And from what I understand, they don't really have any plans for that. That's really my only downside to it. Everything else, though, it's a dream program. But there's a lot to it. I've actually tried to use it 3 times before it stuck this time. Everything else was just overwhelming. It's one of those programs you got to go look at tutorials and YouTube videos before you start using it to really get a grasp on your workflow and how you want to use it and organize it. But once you get into it, if you end up getting to that point like me, it becomes invaluable. We're just going to ignore the Disney Princess Cup right there. Yes, the program is named Obsidian. I think technically the MD is the MD is also part of its name, but that's also the website. Let me see. Oh, I thought it had a splash panel. No, maybe it is just called Obsidian. I don't know. Anyways, it is like a more nerdy OneNote. Absolutely. All right. Next up, we have some Ions with the track Faith off of their Counterintuitive album. This one comes at us from 2112, just a little tune for this month. All right. Let's dive into this. Gets distracted from the music for the 50th time. Yep. Let's dive into this, see what Ions is bringing to the table. It's a fun little rhythm there. Oh, that harmony. Dude, it's so lush. The subtle waving back and forth. Yeah. Fun crossfade to bring the energy back down. Very interesting because we just kind of landed in that zone and then we eased out of it. Yeah, for just a couple of notes, I do like that bass line. pushing into these heights. Yeah, okay, so I'm not the only one who's just feeling all this escalation. Simple, but the strings are a really nice touch. And this is going into the next track. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, dude. Wonderful song. Big drums, big moments contrasted against these more ethereal, spacious sections. The heavy use of a droning synth actually ends up elevating it. It's a very cool sound that, albeit is just one tone, is very textured and dynamic as far as the production side goes. I loved the first expansive moment with those really big harmonies because we kind of launch ourselves into the stratosphere and just hang here for a little bit before crashing back down. And when we come back into this moment, it's not about suspension, but about continual rising, as instead of these large vocal harmonies, we have a single vocal tone that gives us melodic ideas. We actually have sung parts here rather than just holding out vocalizations. And so we introduce this section as an atmosphere before developing it into a full section the next time we come to it. And I really love that evolution of this because it feels like this arc, but the second time is just growth. It is just skyrocketing through. We're not coming back down. And the longer we sit up there, the more intense it gets. The idea of being underwater and swimming up and then breaking through the surface is another really great way to understand this track. Yeah, beautiful. I don't even need to pull this one down because I already know Ions is in my list of bands to check out. I think I've checked them out before too on my own. Maybe not. This was their 2023 album, and I think it was in my list, and I didn't get around to it. 2023 was a massive year, though. There's a lot of stuff I didn't get to check out that year, and I listened to a lot of music. Dang. But yeah, a track like this just reminds me, you know, I'm going to pull it down as a reminder to check this out this week. I like the first half more than the second half, for sure. Especially if you really like that synth tone that you were talking about at the beginning, it gets swallowed up by the rockier second part of the track. So definitely two vibes. I think that they complement each other well, but I can definitely see someone enjoying one side more than another. But yeah, just Ions, man. Like I said, just a reminder, I need to check them out. Full album from them, because that was gorgeous. All right, we're going to go in a very different direction here. This whole day has just been jumping between extremes. We have some Converge, 2-day romance. Comes from Magikarp. This track is incredible, but even more so considering these guys made Jane Doe, which is the auditory equivalent of getting demolished by a 10-ton angry bee. Okay, so maybe not. I was expecting heaviness because of my experience with Jane Doe. This is not going to be that? I don't know. Let's dive into this one, see what's going on with some Converge. It's very compressed. So this is 7. Just kicking in a little bit of eeriness there. Quite imbalanced in the mix. The vocals are so quiet and the drums are incredibly present. I'm waiting to hear the comments about the vocals because I love them. I know every time I love vocals, many of y'all are just not on board. This is very emo. Vocals exist. So we had the 7 earlier and we're on a 9 here. It was about removing something previously but adding something to this one. Now in straight 4/4. Is that it? Dang. All right, I'm pulling that one down. It is definitely up my alley, very emo inspired, but still kind of punky. The production is it's rough. But I really enjoyed that third section. The intro was heavy. The first verse was very chill. And then we had that third section with the dual vocals, and I loved that. That section just really spoke to me. The atmosphere of it, the dreariness, the melodramatic melancholy, the dual vocals, the cleans, both of the harsh styles. I'm all over all of that. The metalcore finale was fine. I did like to hear this evolution of the riff that we had in the 7 and the 9 and the final 4 were very similar. I don't think they were identical, but they shared some ideas, and hearing this evolution of missing something, adding something, and then finding that perfect symmetrical mix was very cool. It is rough around the edges, though. I don't know if I'll get more than a single listen out of this album, but if the rest of the album is like this, an interesting mix of post-hardcore, metalcore, and screamo, I think I'll enjoy it. Maybe a 4 until those vocals came in. I knew they were going to rub someone the wrong way. I was actually surprised to hear that Synapse and Youth Worship Explosion didn't mind it. But yeah, very interesting track, especially given that they did do Jane Doe, which is in the same ballpark as this, but a very different take on it. This is a unique side to Converge. All right. Oh, geez, I forgot to look up the name of this first, how to pronounce this. The artist is Animalize. The title is... I don't want to do... Oh, geez, that's the title. More on key than those vocals typically are. Yeah, there's definitely some really good pitch placement on that. You're the wrong target audience for these. Get my French... nope. De la Nuit. I think that's accurate. The first word, I'm just not gonna... It's not gonna be good, man. We got context for this, though. Very fun to listen to this band. High energy French modern heavy metal with a hint of prog. Also, the lyrics are very well written if you speak French. Everything rhymes and sounds good phonetically. Well, I could probably pick up the phonetic element to it. Let's dive into this. See what's going on with Animalize. The title is just gibberish. Definitely heavy metal, though. You know it's gotta be here. Oh, the Futurama reference. I need to watch that one of these days. I have a soft spot for heavy metal. I have a little bit of nostalgia for it. But it's not something I usually actively listen to. I love that cymbal work. Yeah, fun delay there. Yeah, fun little way to get back into this. That's fun.
Les armées dans ta belle lorsqu'elles t'attendent. Les armées de la nuit. Armées de la nuit. Armées de la nuit. Armées.
We're gonna have a fade out on this too, aren't we?
Armées de la nuit.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, no fade out. I really enjoyed that track as just like fun listening. I want to say there was a lot of depth to it. We have a solid riff for our verse. The chorus kind of brings the forward momentum down just a little bit from the riff writing and transfers it into pure energy. A lot of that pedal tone usage here to create this downward like friction, like bearing the song down so you can get, I don't know, more momentum somehow. A very short fade out. And it's just completely driven from start to finish. The guitar solo was very well done, good flow throughout all of it. Not really a lot of time to slow things down, but I still think that they found a great way to create pacing energy-wise as far as harmonic structure and note choice. The vocals, spot on for what I expect for heavy metal, and it's just fun and energetic from start to finish. Very well done, yeah. Good standard metal. That's a good way to put it. I suppose the more cynical side is bland generic metal. It is definitely iterative though. All right, have a good rest of your day, Zeno the plushie. And if you come back, excellent. If not, maybe we'll see you next time. Yeah, I didn't hear any prog in this either, but still a solid track. Very fun, and I think sometimes you just need a good fun song to listen to. And this fits the bill. And like I said, I kind of have some nostalgia for this. I didn't listen to a lot of this in my childhood, but definitely we had some heavy metal adjacent stuff played on car rides. And yeah, like I was saying, it's not a sound I usually reach for myself, but I enjoy hearing it from time to time. And this was a nice fresh take on that, very clear modern production within that realm. All right. Now, I really appreciate, what is this, Terra Necla, I believe? Yeah, not my favorite song of theirs, but best for a live stream. Terra Necla also gave me a translation of this, not into English, but in Romaji, so that I could at least pronounce it. The band or artist is惑星Abnormal, and the track is Hitori ni Narinai. So we got that. That's better than most days where I'm just like, that's it right there. I'm excited about this though. Every time y'all pick Japanese music for the streams, it is interesting. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse, but it always creates a highlight in the streams. So I'm excited to get into this. Let's see what's going on with this group. Have we even had Judas Priest? Yeah, we've had some priests before. I think I did Painkiller, actually. Oh! We've done Victim of Changes, Firepower, and Electric Eye. I could have sworn we did Painkiller, though. That wah effect on the synth was very nice. It's a very interesting kind of funk too. It's like musically it's funk, but the production on it, it's very modern. Seinfeld funk. Dude, this is just fun. Seinfeld core. Very interesting marimba style bells back there. Finally, some minimal underwear in the strip. This is very modern though. And it was applied to some of the funkier parts. All right. Very interesting. Sort of a modern take on, it's still kind of traditional funk. In a lot of ways, the composition here is very traditional. It's just applied in a production style in a very unique way, very modern take on almost electronic music. I find that to be the most interesting part of it, where we have one part that's rather iterative. It's done in a, I wouldn't say truly inventive, but certainly a more progressive style. So I enjoy that. It is funky, it is groovy. I enjoy that just through and through. The production is kind of hit and miss for me. Some of it is just a little, how would I describe it? It's distracting, maybe would be the term for it. But I think overall it's enjoyable. I think it's interesting. Pretty much any time that we have a female Japanese vocalist who has slightly cutier vocal affection. What is that word I'm trying to find there? Anyways, the style of delivery, there's always someone who's got to bring it up. And yeah, I'm always on the fence about it. It's not something I actively look for, and I tend to prefer female vocalists who tend to move, do something different than it. But it's not grating for me like it is for some of y'all. But if there was ever a Critical Reactions live stream bingo, a Japanese female vocalist being too high pitched would probably be one of the spaces. It gets brought up so often. Very interesting. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Next up, we have some Artrosis. The track is Too Evil, Inflection. That might have been what I was looking for. Inflection, yes. I don't know why I thought it started with an A. Affliction is definitely not the word that I needed there. But yes, inflection would have been it. Thank you for that. Do we have context for this? Oh, I never flipped the songs over. This one comes at us from Tiger Charm. I was going to say Charm Tiger because that's how you are in chat. But then I saw the T first, and I was like, oh, obviously it's Tarmchiker. Make sure it's the English version of the album, even though they've used the Latin album title. The Polish language version of the album has a different title and was a completely different recording session. Since some on here don't watch Brian's videos, this band is a sneak peek at my next full album submission, though this track is from a different album. So, Brian, if you don't like it, sorry about that. They play gothic metal that's atmospheric and a bit proggy. All right, well, I'm on board for that. Let's dive in, see what's going on with this group. All right, already I'm going to say this is probably an older album. We've had a lot of very 90s sounding synths today and guitar tones. So this song is a warning. (2001), okay. So close enough to the 90s to still be influenced by the sounds of it. Yeah, good call on that 3-3-2 breakdown of the 4. Oh, is that a goth metal trope? I mean, it's commonly used across a lot of genres. I don't think I ever pieced together that pattern within goth metal. I like the atmosphere of that last section. Oh, this chord right here has a lot of uplift to it against the darkness that we return to. A lot of uses the vocals as texture. That's a band name I haven't heard in a very long time. Wrong button. Very interesting. I'm a little torn about it. I like the concept. of it. A more vocal driven style that isn't focused on lyrics, lots of vocal layers in order to create a varying moving parts that create almost, I don't know, I view it as like waves for some reason. Even though waves are kind of like a singular thing, there's like all the waterness that makes up a wave. I don't know if that makes any sense. But like it all comes together as a unified idea, and there are quite a few sections that are just vocal stacks that move uniformly, but there's also other parts that sit outside of that, expanding on the harmonization with its own part to it. All of this working alongside, honestly, minimal drum and guitar parts that I think set the scene for this more vocal-centric composition. The vocals were the best parts, yeah, 100%. I really like that part. But I didn't find that it was interesting enough to have taken up half of the track. I would have liked more expansion on this concept itself, because as it is one phrase that gets repeated over and over and over. And it took up so much of this track. It is a good idea. I really like it. I just don't know if it has enough meat on the bone to support holding up this entire track. I found the verse to be a little less interesting, but it was a nice place for the vocalist to lay down some lyrics and provide some more traditional melody there, and for the instrumentation to shine, as well as to create nice contrast by having a more open sound sphere where that we could fill in the chorus. So I think my final thoughts on this is that this is a very cool idea that gets stretched just a little too thin. If it was maybe a more progressive take on it, if there were more ideas here, if we had a variation on the chorus, maybe a bridge would have helped this too. This is just an A, B, A, B, and then the song's over. Like this feels like a good foundation to build something off of, a great foundation even, and instead they just decided to use this one part. And that's always, to me, that stings a little, because it takes something that I'm really excited about when I first hear it and gets me to be a bit bored of it by the time we're done listening to it. But I am excited to check out more from them. As usual, I don't want to judge a band just based off of one track, but also Charm Tiger had mentioned that the album that they're going to be requesting is not this one, so that'll be interesting as well. I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of good ideas here, and I'd just like to see them expanded upon a bit more. But you don't get this kind of vocal work inside of metal too often, and that's exciting in and of itself. All right, next up. Wait, we only have 5 left? How did we make up so much time? We're not going to run over as bad as I thought we were. We have Via Luna, No One Cares, as our next track. This one comes at us from Vermilion Gates, just a beautiful track that takes you on a journey. I'm always down for journeys. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, math rock. Yeah, it's really a specific guitar tone and note choice in that first interval. It's just, it immediately clicks. Very, very traditional sound right from the get-go. I just noticed that this is a sunflower that looks like it's wilting. The title of the album is Wilt. But I really like the color splotches and the color choice being a bit muted on this album cover here. Got some bass focus here. We got that grounded to elevation. Yeah, there's some parts in here I could see in a video game. In fact, this section would be beautiful, maybe a little too rhythmically invested and energetic, but it would work really well for Minecraft compared to the few tracks we've heard from C418, C413? I can't remember the artist's name. Yeah, chill and cool. That slide, doo-doo. Love that. Nice little detail. Yeah. There's so much darkness there. They started this phrase last time the same way. You don't hear this too often of math rock bands kind of taking a moment to smell the roses. They make such beautiful music, but rhythmically it's so dense. And here they're just focusing on these gorgeous harmonies. Now we're Daisy. This is very cool. Yeah, that was your mind reader over there. That's what I was going to start the conversation off with when it was over. You know, I wouldn't think that I like the bass kick sounds, but I kind of do. Yeah. Working that slow triplet feel into this. Perfect way to type that melody out. Yeah, definitely just feels beautiful and comfortable. And I think that's interesting too, because that's not the entirety of the track. We move from hyper dexterous, almost overly complicated with the rhythmic devices at the beginning. It feels overly critical, overly theoretical. We move from that into basically nothing. Everything chills out and we just enjoy the moment. There's a little bit of darkness in here, but we've gone from too much progressiveness to almost too little. It's just very focused in the here and now. And then from there, we expand into shoegaze, which feels overbearing. There's so much going on here. And then we cut through that with the finale, which is just that warmth again that we heard at the beginning, but without too much complexity. We've kind of reined it in a little bit and found a middle ground to explore that same atmosphere at the beginning, but more focused. I think that's a really cool journey to go on, trying to find the middle ground between simplicity and complexity. You can interpret that however you want as far as storytelling goes, but that's the highs and the lows of this track. It's the rising and falling tension. Oh, y'all like this one back home. Very cool. You got a lot of people watching now? Used to just be it's a Mark tuning in. Now you got more people. All right. I'm always down for that. Turn this into like a family event. That's cool. Not reading your mind, just the music. No need to freak out. The song does have a good story, and I really enjoy how it ends. It kind of wraps up all the ideas it presented simultaneously. I do think that the triplet on the drums is a little obtuse. It works generally, but it's also quite a bit disruptive. You can immediately feel when that polyrhythm kicks in. But I think ultimately it ends up working as if it's trying to slow the song back down. And maybe that's where the song wants to end up. Oh, okay. Watching the stream in the car, group of people, that's cool. I always find that interesting because, to me, I always think of streaming to sort of be a single person thing. It's one person in front of their phone or their computer watching the stream itself. The only time I really think of like streams being a group event would be, I guess, esports or I guess politicians have been on streams before. Maybe I could see that in a bit more of a group thing. But it just never dawned on me that, just chilling, watching some music. I mean, this is a group thing, a communal event where all of us come together on Sundays to do this. It makes sense to have more physical people in the communal experience too. So, yeah, that's cool. I gotta do that more often. Find some streaming parties that my friends or families might be interested in. A long time ago, we used to watch League of Legends together, and that was fun, esports. But I don't think I've watched a stream with someone else since then, other than big events like games done quick. Yeah, it's kind of a neat thing, kind of outside of my expectations. Gets the brain expanding the horizons. That's what I love about this, man. That's what I love about people. You get to see how other people do stuff, and that expands your thoughts. Something that you never even thought about is now in your brain. Something to think about. It's wild, dude. Absolutely wild how we can pass information and expand our understanding of life and humanity just through speech. That's magic. This is just electricity running through meat, and yet we can experience new things. We can understand new things. We can broaden our horizons just by talking to someone. I think it's such a normal aspect of life, the passage of thoughts and ideas, that it seems kind of mundane, but when you really think about it, it is magic. Absolutely wonderful. Culture, community, conversation, the 3 C's right there. Amazing. Stiff Little Fingers is next with Wasted Life. Comes from Emperor Samael 666. Classic UK punk rock. I was on TV. That's another thing that kind of blows my mind. I talked about, being at your computer or a phone, maybe a tablet. I honestly don't think about putting streams on TV. That somebody would put me on TV. So that's interesting. On a large screen, kind of makes me a little worried. But very cool nonetheless. All right, stiff little fingers. Let's see what's going on here.
I could be a soldier, go out there and fight to save this land.
That's definitely punk.
We are people
The TV packs on 10 pounds thing.
soldiers, a military gun in hand. I won't be a soldier.
I'm totally not going to go out and buy a DSLR just so I can get a lens that's going to thin me out now.
Fucking armies, till it isn't my ideal fun. And they wanna waste my life, they wanna waste my time, they wanna waste my life, and they've stolen it away.
I try to be likable. I try to be personal. I would say that if I wasn't likable, who would show up to this stuff? But there's a lot of, I'm not going to start any internet beef, but there's people that I don't understand how they have their audience. So, personality, what is that supposed to mean? This guy's got so much grit on his voice, dude.
Just can't win. I've heard that story many times before, and every time I'm throwing it out the door.
Nah, I'm not one to start beef. That's not me.
Still they come up to me with a different name and same old face.
This is what I would expect from Punk.
I can see the
Aggressive, straightforward.
with another time and another place. Now they ain't blonde hair or blue eyed, but they think that they're a master race. They're nothing but blind fascists.
I don't know Harry Mack, but y'all know how much I love wordplay.
And they wanna waste my life. They wanna waste my time. They wanna waste my life. And they've stolen it away. What they wanna do, they wanna waste my life. They wanna waste my time. They wanna waste my life. And they stolen it away.
All right, very straightforward track here. 2 chords primarily, lots of pedal tone, lots of aggressive vocals right from the start. Clearly punk music. I'm still kind of blown away by the grit in this guy's voice. Like guitars, you can add that. And I guess on the production side, you can do that with vocals too, but so much of this sounds natural. But it's not pure false chord. There's traditional vocal chord work going on in here. So he's mixing the natural compression with the clean vocals and creating this sound, which the amount of compression he's got on this, I'm not a vocal coach, y'all know that. I'm not a singer. But I've always heard that you don't want to mix the two. You either do false chord or you do clean singing. And there's grit that you can put on, sure. That's safer, but this is a very immense amount of grit that he's just consistently laying down all the time. I'm going to assume he's doing it in a healthy way, but I don't know. Kind of perplexed by that. It sounds great though. The grit gives this a lot of personality, and I think it adds to the aggression of everything, which I think is what you want for punk music. It's kind of the heart behind it. Y'all mentioned Sex Pistols a few times. I recognize the name of the bands. I know they're prolific within punk music of some era, but I don't think I've ever heard of them. So I guess hit me up with some songs I should check out from them. or don't, if you just want to do a special selection for it or something. I don't know. Is this a group I should get into? I'm not really big. They were the punk band. Okay, so like a lot of modern punk has roots within them. When were they around then? Are we talking like 60s, 70s? I mean, I guess like a lot of formed 1975. Like a lot of older stuff, I'm very familiar with bands that were influenced by them, but haven't really heard a lot of the classics, a lot of the origins of modern styles. And that's one of the cool things about doing the reactions here, is that I've got to kind of see the origins of a lot of punk, rock, and metal, and even electronic music too, with what is it, some of the earliest electronic music we've listened to on the channel, bands like Kraftwerk, really laying down the foundation for modern stuff. So yeah, I'm getting to explore a lot of origin points that I would probably never have even thought to dive into on my own. Anarchy in the UK, Heresy, God Save the Queen. These titles they're not ringing a bell for me, but as usual too with prolific bands like this, famous bands like this, it's quite possible I've heard the song and just didn't know the title or the bands that did it. So that might be interesting too. I don't know how I'd go about doing that. A week of music where I've heard the song, but I didn't know who sang it or what the song title was. And it was like a super famous band that honestly I haven't really dove into much. This is something that happened with the Beatles, and we certainly had a lot of Beatles tracks on the channel since then. Sex Pistols might be another good one for that too, though. Sid Vicious was in Sex. See, I know him, or at least I know of the name at the very least. Again, something that I kind of have in the periphery of my mind. I know classical music, but who's Bach? Yeah, you would have to be able to read my mind, which makes it a bit difficult. That's why I said I don't know how to go about doing that, but I think that would be very cool to kind of be introduced to some of these classic bands that I should know, but don't. To be fair, though, I think from a certain perspective, for a certain person, they would know what classical music is, but they might not be able to hum or tell you a song specifically from Bach. But if you played them a popular song, any number of his popular songs, they would definitely be, oh yeah, I know that one, because they're so well ingrained into pop culture. But you never hear them with the visual of, this was written by Bach, this is the name of the piece or the movement of specific work. So I think there are definitely people who would be in that same boat with classical and Bach as I am with Sex Pistols and punk, or Beatles with rock. I could see that. All right. The Paper Kites, Willow Tree March. Now, these two things present a very specific flavor of music, especially with the woodsy kind of album art here. You could take a listing of most influential punk songs and exclude the ones you've heard. I could do that. And Rate Your Music should be pretty good for that too. Because if nothing else, they're really focused on innovation. If you've helped craft a sound, you're going to be ranked very highly. If you iterate on a sound, Rate Your Music is going to hate you. One of the things I clash with the Rate Your Music, not a fan, but user base. Let me write this down because I will forget. three more tracks of music. I'm going to completely forget about this whole thing. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to copy paste it. That would be a lot easier. All right. Let's kick this song off. Do we have comments on it from Jasper? I mentioned on the second to last stream that I'd be going down a dark folk Southern Gothic rabbit hole lately, and that the Laura Marling song reminded me of the stuff I'd been going down that road. This is the song that made me start looking for those genres in the first place. The Paper Kites themselves haven't really written a darker sounding song like it before or since, and I honestly struggle to find anything that really reproduced the immaculate vibe this song does. It's a rather simple track, but it has this dark, almost otherworldly nature feel to it that I struggle to find anywhere else, like running through the woods in autumn at dead of night, the wind whipping through the trees around you. Very descriptive. I like it. Hey, Demulor, what's up? I'm going to dive into this one, see what's going on with the Paper Kites. Very lively 3 to kick this off. I like hitting that heavy 1 and then 2 and 3 being... I like that.
Fall through the trees and you pray with your knees on the ground for the things that you need with your lust and your greed weighing down. And you're weak in your love and you hold it above your head. Success is a song of the heart, not a song of your bed.
I love the vocal harmonies.
And we all still die. Are we all still die? What will you leave behind? Are we all still die?
I like how the darkness is... I don't think subtle is the right word, but compared to black metal, it feels subtle. It's just enough to give it the coloring, and I think it's that subtlety I kind of miss in metal. Absolutely showcased in this track, though.
We all still die. Are we all still die? What will you leave behind? Are we all still die? Marching away from this tree it will die without leaves. Marching away from this tree it will die without leaves. This tree it will die. This tree it will die. And we all still die. Oh, we all still die. What will you leave behind? Oh, we all still die.
Ooh, there's a third vocalist. The third one didn't show up earlier, did they? It's honestly really big for what it is. We have a couple of percussion instruments, the guitar and a bass, but it's also small compared to... Oh, there's two guitars. It feels so small compared to the vocals. Yeah, a fun little exploration song there. Like a lot of folk, focusing on just an A and a B section, a smaller idea contrasted with a larger idea. The instruments sound phenomenal. I love acoustic instruments. I love listening to percussion that isn't drum kits. I think a lot of this is just that I listen to the opposite of that so much for the channel, which is, you know, electric guitars, drum kits. Going acoustic and moving away from drum kits is just a nice palate cleanse that I kind of have to force myself to listen to a lot of times, but something that is really energizing for me, a good way to refresh my ears. And just the folk sound in general is nice for that. But then on top of that, there's gorgeous harmonies between the three vocalists throughout this entire track. I can see someone maybe saying this is a bit too overproduced. I think that the vocals in particular are a bit more produced than I would like for this. Folk, I think, tends to work really well with a done in one take kind of sound style, kind of having that tape sound to it, kind of just a little raw on the production side of things. But honestly, it ends up working for me, and I love the subtle darkness that runs through all of this. So yeah, lovely is a really good word for this. The raw sounds. I'm never escaping that. I can't. How do people say raw? I'm not getting into this today. How do we always end up in this conversation on streams? I love this though. This is really good stuff. And I think I'm going to listen to more of this album today, actually, as I'm getting everything set up after the stream's over, just kind of having this on the background and enjoying the vibes of it. Sounds really good for that. All right, next up, I've been worried about this one. I saw a little bit of the music video when I was doing the audio test earlier, and the title is Bubbles Burst, and this is going to go into the context from Greg. For being the son of Yoko Ono and John Lennon, Sean doesn't get near as much attention as he deserves, but his work with Claypool is helping with that. This is a song about the surreal life of Michael Jackson's pet chimpanzee, Bubbles. The song description is wild. The little bit I saw of the music video is wild. I don't know. Oh, it's just an EP. It's just 25 minutes. I might have to loop that a little bit. I think it takes me usually like 40 minutes after the stream's over is when I get everything wrapped up. They're coming out with a new album very soon. I'm excited about that. Psychedelic. I'm expecting psychedelic here, particularly because of Sean Lennon's parents, but also because of what the song is going to be about. Do not get a pet chimpanzee. Yeah, that sounds like solid advice. I don't know much about the animals, but that's not an animal I would think of for a pet. All right, let's dive into this. Turds for the win. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? All right, FHI, have a good rest of your day. We'll catch you next time. Let's dive into this, see what's going on with the Claypool Lennon Delirium. Oh, wow, yeah. Impossible to control, aggressive and dangerous. Don't want that in my life. Doing well, good to hear. There's a lot of darkness in here that I wasn't expecting. Trying to figure out who that actor reminded me of, and for some reason it's reminding me of Noel Fielding. Yeah, the verse is definitely Beatles-esque. It blows my mind that there could be a war within chimps, I mean within animals at all, kind of, but... Okay, so I'm not the only one who sees the resemblance. This part is so eerie, dude. Okay, yeah, Noel Fielding is in this music video, and that's probably him. I do believe there was a CGI Bubbles in the trailer for the... I can't call it a biography, but yes, the Michael Jackson film. All right. Yeah, this is interesting because a lot of it reminds me of some of the Beatles' heavier work, but mixed with a bit of Pink Floyd and combining all of that into something incredibly dark and eerie and unsettling. And it creates this atmosphere that feels like I shouldn't be here. The music video did not do any benefit for that either. It certainly leans into this uncanny element of it all. I do think that the music is interesting even on its own, though. What have I stumbled upon? I'm just imagining someone, surfing through Twitch and they're like, oh, someone's doing music reactions. Let me get in there. Let's see what's going on here. And this is what they're introduced to. Oh, man. But I do think that the music is really good even on its own. The music video certainly embellishes on the feelings that they're exploring, but it is a solid combination of some classic rock vibes, some of the eerie sounds of classic rock, but also bringing in the psychedelic component and mixing it all with very modern production too, with solid bass work that helps push the entire song forward. The heavy use of that wavy production style in here gives it almost a dreamlike element to it. So I don't know. I'm kind of sold on this. I mean, Les Claypool's a part of it. I'm already interested there. I don't know anything about Sean Lennon other than that he's the son of a Beatle, and this is my first introduction to his art, so there's still a lot to learn about that. But Claypool is someone I've just always enjoyed. Even if the music's been a bit too esoteric for me, the skills on bass is just something I can't ignore. So I got to dig more into this, I suppose. I pulled that one down. I'm a bit apprehensive towards it. I don't think it's a sound I want to dive into immediately, especially if it's going to be more like this. But I'm kind of on board with it. And I suppose there is the elephant in the room, which is Noel Fielding. I absolutely love the man, and seeing him here, there's definitely some charisma that's added to this project simply because he exists within the multimedia elements of this. So, oh, Mark, there's only one more. So if you can stick around for it, you're gonna get through the whole stream. Suneko, I hope I pronounced that correctly. If you're trying to submit your own music, you can do that via email. criticalreactions@pm.me. And I will check that out for free. I'll do a reaction over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/criticalreactions. Just give me some details on that. I'm always about spotlighting up-and-coming musicians, so... Oh yeah, and Marilyn has a good point there too. We have a self-promotion section of the Discord server if you just want to get your music out there. So all of those are good avenues if that's what you're aiming for. If you just wanted me to listen to something else, yeah, I don't really have many free avenues for that. Way too many requests coming in. All right, lots of, what is the global term for orangutans, chimps, monkeys, apes? There's an umbrella term for all that? Anyways, some good conversation about that group of animals, I suppose. I don't have a chance to read all of it. Definitely isn't up and coming, not requesting, just listening. Okay. Primates. Okay. See, I didn't know if primates was another branch of these types of animals, or if it was the umbrella term. I didn't want to say it wrong. All right. Let's dive into this last one. We'll get this wrapped up so I can get some food, so Mark can be on his way. H. John Benjamin, I Can't Play Piano, Part 2. From Wormy, here's a song off of I Should Have Learned, an album where an artist recorded an album with a bunch of jazz musicians and they play the lead piano. Okay. I'm just expecting this to be some really solid jazz work and then a rogue pianist not knowing what they're doing. That's my take on this. Let's see what's actually happening. This is so stupid. Oh, yeah. He's definitely wearing, like, a motorcycle outfit. I can't take this, dude. What in the world? the fun thing is that jazz typically plays outside of the key quite frequently anyway, so it still sounds jazzy, even if it's more dissonant than jazz would typically be. Oh, actually, simian might have been what I was thinking of. Where does that fit in the scientific description hierarchy? I really like how the title uses a footnote. Good catch on that, Wormsbane. That's a solid joke right there. Yeah, there's definitely an element of I've heard jazz, I'm going to try to replicate those sounds without knowing how to replicate them. Like the phrasing and the rhythmic structure is solid. It's the harmonic thing that's out of place. Oh. Oh man. I mean, what do I even say about that? I mean, here's the thing, right? I agree with y'all thinking that it actually is not bad. It's not bad. And I think that there's two parts to that. One is that, yes, he does have a good ear for rhythm, structure, and pacing and phrasing. Whether that is simply just listening to a lot of jazz piano and saying, oh, you know, I kind of got a good memory for this, I'm going to replicate some of the stuff I've heard. Or maybe it's just a gut feeling. Maybe he is a pretty good musician already, just piano is not his instrument. Either way, that element is fairly well set. It's just that what keys to play, what kind of key we're in, where to get those notes, that's the part that seems unfamiliar, and that's where a lot of the disconnect comes from. The note choices are just incredibly atonal and dissonant. The rest of the band supports the song, though. It's a very well written, well performed track when the piano isn't present. And so it really just is that one aspect of it. It's the harmonic qualities of the piano part that are off kilter, that are out of place. And honestly, within jazz, harmony is kind of flexible, especially compared to other styles of music like mainstream pop or even something like classical. There's a rigidity to the harmonic structure in those styles that really isn't present in jazz. And so I think that creates even more leeway for this project to still sound good. Yeah, he had the rhythm going. I am quite perplexed by it. I don't know if I'm going to pull it. I will pull it down because I have to show my sister. She played jazz piano for 4 years. She played piano since she was 9. So, and much like me, she hates dissonance. In fact, I think she hates less structured ideas more than I do. So, you know, the times when y'all really like giving me something esoteric or avant-garde, and maybe you get a kick out of seeing me cringe to some of the harmonic or rhythmic devices, her reactions are more visceral than even mine. I kind of get to be in your audience seat sometimes when I show her stuff. So, I don't want cringe. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. You should have my sister on for guest reactions. It'd be interesting, I think, for sure. Frontier would not be her cup at all. It'd be so much worse. She would not make it through, though. She doesn't have the fortitude to get through something she doesn't like. So that'd be like listen to 30 seconds tops, and then she'll give you her thoughts on it. And honestly, for something like Frontierer, she probably wouldn't be wrong. Those songs don't really change over the course of a track. But yeah, so I'll have to play this for her, and pulling it down will help with that. You're gonna send something over to me now. I don't have a bot set up, but do I have the Discord underneath? Dude, I'm gonna say this right now. I'm a terrible Twitch streamer. It's still this arcane art to me of bots and commands and stuff like that. I'm gonna get a link for you real quick though. I'm gonna get and it is in the link tree, but I'll just make this easier. Copy link and paste. I am the bot. You ask a command and I'll manually put it in. I am the bot. You ask a command and I'll manually put it in. Treat her nice with suggestions and allow her to pause. She might appreciate that. I will say though, she's fairly cynical. If she's not enjoying it, it's bad music. So if she's not enjoying it, oh no, okay, I got this fixed. There we go. The echo's gone. I pulled up my YouTube page, not YouTube, Twitch page to find the link, and it started playing the stream. She's got my honesty. No, there's two of them. Oh man. All right, that's fixed though. But yeah, I definitely got to show her this. I think it would be a fun time. For the few seconds you'd probably listen to it. But so y'all know, I'm not completely evil. I do play her some really good stuff. I showed her that Mariana's Trench track that we checked out a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago on Livestream. Not the Masterpiece Theater that we listened to a couple weeks ago, but the first time I was introduced to their more orchestral work on Livestream. And she was a little iffy on that. She grew up with the original Mariana's Trench, but she did enjoy the harmonic work, the vocal work on it. Less respectfully put criticism. I have told her many times she should start a reaction channel because she is brutally honest about how she feels about something. And I told her that you're just going to end up hating everything, but you're going to get a lot of people giving you money to listen to music. I said, if you want to look at this completely cynically from like a capitalistic perspective, it would probably be incredibly lucrative. And I don't know why she hasn't yet. There's two of them. We can finally catch up with the album reactions. If only we could clone people. The ethics of it be damned. I'd clone myself and we'd get through so much work. She'll make a fortune suffering. Worked for me. I don't know if I'd say that it's incredibly lucrative on my side. I feel like when I look at other reactors, I don't have anywhere near any of the metrics. Comments, analytics, subscribers, viewers, even patrons. It doesn't bother me as much as it used to. I'm starting to come around to accepting it because I do think that I'm very authentic and I appreciate that in everything that I do. I can't do something that's inauthentic just as an artist. Forgetting the music critic side or the entertainer side, however you want to classify this, just as an artist, it's got to be authentic. It's got to be me. So I couldn't do it any other way. But I do think that I create something that you don't find pretty much anywhere else on YouTube. And that's another reason that I keep doing it this way. You analyze rather than criticize. I'm the best. Well, thank you. You love mercilessly brutal reactions. I think I've only done a couple of those. And I'd say that they're brutal for me compared to my usual stuff. But yeah, the critical is the lie. You often see the over-the-top fake reactors. Yep. I actually don't watch a lot of reaction because of that. I do like film reactions sometimes, but honestly, I want thoughts, I want feedback, I want criticism about it. And most reactors, it's, you know, it's a chuckle or, hey, that's weird, or a shocked face or something. And it's not substantial. I can just go watch the film on my own again. And so, I don't know. I don't really get the reaction format too much. I think I've said this before, but I got into it because of channels like, oh, dang, I forgot his name. Something with Garrett and drummer in it. And he was a jazz drummer reacting to metal drummers that were really technical. And I was like, hey, you know, this guy's telling us about hemiolas. He's telling us about paradiddles, about drumming techniques, and, you know, giving his perspective as a jazz drummer on this. And I was like, dude, this is pretty cool. Maybe I could do this. It was the first time I think I really connected with a reaction channel. So maybe you'll do a reaction channel that tries to see how over the top you could take it. Do another Angine reaction, hit the algorithm. I probably should. Well, the thing is, the last time I tried to do algorithmically favorable reactions, dude, I have such a bad nose for that. I cannot sniff out what's going to be good or not. I just kind of rely on y'all. Y'all tell me, hey, dude, this thing's blowing up. You should probably check it out. Yeah. Those videos tend to work. Even the special selections, the theme stuff, y'all tend to pick some stuff that is usually does well. I can't do that. I don't know if y'all remember. I think it was 2023, 2024, one of those years. We were alternating. We would do a theme week one week, and then I would pick 5 songs the next week. Every single week I did was terrible for analytics. And I don't even think I enjoyed those ones either. So Garrett Miller drums, thank you very much. Yeah. Definitely want to shout him out. I don't think he still does reactions. The last time I saw was years ago. But yeah, both entertaining and informative. And a lot of what this channel is really due to him showing me that this could be a thing to do. So yeah, Mark was actually the one who told me to do Angine. So that was a really good call there. I probably should check out another one of theirs since I still have some of the people came in from that video. Will Wood is definitely a big one, and Everything Is a Lot is already in the album list, and probably sometime after that I'll check out the last album. I'll just schedule it myself, probably just to wrap it all up. Yep, Ozzy is a good one. That one brought in a lot of people. But I also love the variety too. There's hits, there's big bands that are getting big numbers, lots of conversation, and then we also get these small bands where sometimes it's only the person who requested it put a comment on the video. And honestly, that's kind of special too. It's a band that usually I would never have heard of. And it's a band that, or a song at least, that means something to someone, even though most people don't care for it or don't even know what it is. And I love checking out everything in between these two extremes. So, all right, we're gonna wrap this up. Somehow we only went 2.5 hours. I really thought it was gonna be worse when we were coming in on the first hour and only checked out a few tracks. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your week. No special selection today. Had a bit of a end of the week. The album review actually took me 2 days to record, so I didn't get a chance to get the Friday stuff done. Just kind of bled over into the weekend. So no early access for tomorrow. We will be doing Film Score Week again, though. The schedule will be up soon. No polls tomorrow for the patrons since we're doing an extension of the week. And I think that's going to wrap it up. So y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll catch y'all later.